Hey guys, welcome back. It's your boy Sir Drinks a Lot. You have tuned into a Lab It Up of the stubborn kind. Root beer. Oh yeah. That's right. We're going to try the root beer. 150 calories, 70 milligrams of sodium, 39 grams of total carbs. Also non-caffeinated because it is a root beer. And honestly, I got to tell you, I got high hopes for this. Just high hopes. Oh, it smells so good. I like root beer. That's good. It's a good, simple, carbonated goodness root beer. It's not a Barks. It's not. There's no real bite to it, except the carbonation. It's a very simple. Yeah, this is nice. Yeah, I like this. It's got a good flavor to it. I'm down. I like that. Yeah, no, this would be great. Get some ice cream, you know. Very, very good. I like that. It's got a nice flavor to it. Not some of the best I've had, but definitely has a rich root beer flavor. And the carbonation is good. I don't have to worry about, you know, it being too strong with the carbonation, and the bite on that isn't too hard. It's not creamy, you know. There's a little bit, but it's pretty good. Gotta say, I think I dig it. Dig it. Yeah, that's good. Good flavor to it. Today is a National Administration Appreciation Day, and your administration, not it. I wonder if it means just work, or are we talking about like the political leaders? Because I can't. You know, when you want to believe the best in people, I think I sometimes want to think that someone who becomes a judge, someone who runs for an office, I think that they want to do good. I really do. I get that feeling that that's something that they want to do. They want to take care of their constituency. But I have a problem with the ones that they only want to take care of their constituency and fuck everybody else. Also, if their constituency doesn't include other people's, if you know what I'm saying. And I don't, and either way, in any direction, I don't think, I think there should be like just necessities when it comes to that. I wish there was. The thing is that we're the United States of America. I'm getting into politics. I'm sorry. I don't know. I just it's very sad that by action of what they do on a regular basis, we think of that as terrible. Anything administration related is a terrible thing. Right now in Texas, we've got the school vouchers, called the ESA. It's a student account thing where money will be put aside from taxpayers' money. We put aside to allow for parents to use vouchers to get their kids into, pay for them to be in other schools, or for homeschooling, and stuff like that. And a lot of people are saying that, like, or one of their benefits is that, like, if I don't like the school, the school that my kid's in, I just move to a new school. Well, the problem is that, one, especially if, like, I can move into a private school of my choice. And it's like, here's the thing about the private schools, is that they don't have to take your kid. And you're like, but it's more money. They still don't have to take your kid. One, if having too many kids is going to affect the way that they can teach their kids, no one's going to be, like, people are going to take their kids out of school. Also, if the school is a very Christian school and you're not, and I'm not saying that's against an atheist family or a Muslim family or whatever, but, like, they don't have to accept you. There's no demand that says that so-and-so academy has to take your kid. They don't have to. For any reason, they don't have to. And they are not held up to the same, they're not accountable the same way state schools are. That being said, people don't like the state schools and how some of them treat their kids, and how some of them, teach our kids. However you feel about it, that's a continuing problem. And the more and more there's dissent on it, the more and more misinformation comes out, and actual information of shit that's like going, why is this a thing, in state schools? And each state has their own regulations. So it's, when we hear something happening and we go, but it's not in Pennsylvania, like, people in Pennsylvania are going, what the fuck? I don't know anything about anything in Pennsylvania. I'm just saying, like, as an example. I'm sorry for picking on you, Pennsylvania. But yeah, it's frustrating. People are like, well, I want the teachers to have, the parents to have a say in their kids' schooling. It's like, well, that's why you join the PTA. Because the vouchers only, like, unless you plan on homeschooling your kid, which a lot of them aren't. A lot of parents aren't going to be homeschooling their kid. And it's like, well, I'm going to put them in so-and-so academy. That academy can say no. That academy can, after a certain situation, just kick your kid out. They don't have to keep your kid in if your kid is a menace. Or if you are a menace and they can't stand dealing with you, they can kick your kid out, no problem. They don't need your money because they're already getting tons of money from everybody else. And that's my issue with it. I like the idea of parents being able to send their kids to a different school in the area, especially if they have an issue. Problem is that those schools should be able to handle those issues, and should. But there's some shit that goes down that is like, it's pretty bad. There's some really shitty things that happen to kids in schools, public schools, where it's not the school's fault. Something gets said or done by other people because or in reference to another student. That student gets basically a target on them, and that student, like, no matter what the teachers do or the administration, you can go and say, hey, don't mess with him or her, this is not their fault, blah blah blah, and that kid is still going to be picked on or reminded of the situation. But even if they weren't meaning to be mean or rude, people will just be like, oh, you're the kid that had something like that. And it's, it's like, you think, like, no, like, there's no bullying in a school. There's bullying in a school. Sometimes that bullying comes from a kid just being a little fucking snot. Deliberately causing issues until the point where the school has to remove them, or does stuff that upsets and causes drama, but not enough to where they break rules. And then you have parents that think that their kid didn't do shit when their kid is specifically responsible and they don't want to do anything about it. It's very, very frustrating. states and the schools have to abide by certain rules, and sometimes those schools don't follow them. So we can't trust the schools, but we have to trust the schools. We can't trust charter schools or other, other schools but we have to. We can't trust the government. You got to trust the government, or you don't trust the government, and they say you trust the government, or we know we're not supposed to trust the government, but people trust the government. Anyway, it's very, very difficult, and it's very, very fluid, and just straight answers are hard to get, and you'd think it'd be simple. And the idea, what aggravates me most is that the concept of, if you have vouchers, then you have the power for your kid to go to school. You don't. You do not have the power of where your kid goes to school. Like, if you want them to go to any other school besides homeschooling, yeah. Because, like I said, those other schools, like charter schools and stuff like that, they don't have to take your kid. And the idea that money, it's not enough money. The voucher is not going to be enough money for them to be like, you know what, we're going to keep your kid after a situation. If something comes up and your kid becomes an issue, they can kick your kid out. Plain and simple. And then, like homeschooling, a lot of parents aren't going to want to do that. I am curious to see how things are going to go, because I do like the idea of having, like, parents having the power for stuff, but then the idea of some parents having power when they just want you to handle it. It's like they just toss their kid at you and they say, here, handle it. And if they have to deal with it, that's a problem. Like, no, you need to handle it. You need to get in there and find out what's going on. Talk to your kid. Also, maybe possibly go, maybe my kid is the problem. Like, don't just automatically, yes, come to the defense of your child. Not a problem. But, like, I don't know. Okay, I'm not saying kids are bad. But, like, there are people who have, like, straight up, like, murdered people. Whose parents are just like, spare my son. Or daughter, or whatever. I don't know. Like I said, I don't like getting political. I really don't. I hope the systems work really well. I hope that it works. It's just those possibilities and those concepts aren't being pushed hard enough, I think. But I do think certain things need to be done. But there's a lot of mistrust. And a lot of misinformation, and a lot of information that works, but not for still misinformation. So I say, really only have the two options. You have proper, right information, then you have misinformation. It's like, yeah. But it's just amazing. You'd think certain things would be cut and dry. That's not. The world isn't like that. The world isn't cut and dry. There's always something like, oh, well, why do they do this? They should never do this. And you go, you know what? You could never condone that. I think there are some things you can't condone, for sure. There are specific things, in my opinion, that you can't condone. You can't just go, that's fine. No, those are wrong. That's why we have laws. That's why we put people in jail. That's why we have courts, jury, judge, all that fun stuff. That's why we have those things. But there are some things, the precursors to those, that just make me want to go, I don't want to be in charge. I don't want to be in charge. I don't. If I'm seeing somebody, I think if you ever see anybody have a fit with a cashier, like tossing shit, screaming, yelling, the cops get called, I think you need to pull the cashier and pull that lady, and they both need help. They both need to talk to somebody. Even if it was the full Karen's fault, or the customer's fault, sorry. Even if that customer wasn't being Karen, if it was the cashier, in this instance, a Karen and a cashier, I think they both need some therapy. They both need some kind of help because it spreads. You do harm, it literally harms the person and it also harms you. And then it spreads. That person then gives it to somebody else and it literally is a disease. You know, root beer doing some weird shit to me today. I'm being stubborn, I think. Good root beer. Honestly, I'm gonna give this a 5 and an 8. I like this better than the vanilla cream, though the vanilla cream was really good. The cherry is gonna be interesting. I'm down to try that and see how it is. I think it's gonna be a fun time. So, anyway, just saying. I hope you guys are doing well. As always, I'm Sir Drinks a Lot, and I'm wishing you health, wealth, and love with enough time and gusto to enjoy it all down to the last drop. You guys take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers. It's good to be stubborn.